after class on Saturday, what is an essay? And I thought, wow, I've probably been teaching this so long that I think that everyone knows what an essay is. That's kind of unfair. An essay is anything anyone writes. It's not just something we write for school. It's an email is an essay. A report that we write for our job is an essay. A letter we write to get our kid excused from school is an essay. An essay is pretty much anything anyone writes. The characteristics of an essay are that it discusses one subject and it attempts to shine new light on the subject. An essay has parts. We use this to teach you how to write an essay, but in reality, they just describe what an essay is. Most essays begin with an introduction, and this introduction often includes the thesis statement or the writer's position statement. An essay has a statement of the writer's position, and this is usually often stated, in the first paragraph of an essay, and it's usually 1 or 2 sentences long. The body is the longest section of an essay, and this is where evidence and illustration are presented. At the end, naturally, we have the conclusion, and this might summarize the main points and restate the thesis, or it might simply just finish, depending on the essay, its purpose, audience, and what you're trying to say. Remember, everything we write is an essay.
So, as she said, everything you write is an essay. Now let's pay attention. The first thing we talk about the essay, we talk about the time management. Now, so we said that the TOEFL is about time always, the time and solving the things in the correct way, in a good way. Now, so the first thing we talk about here is the time management. You have 30 minutes to plan and write and edit your essay, meaning like 5 minutes planning, 20 minutes writing, checking and editing, 5 minutes. Yes. After writing, you need to proofread the things that you wrote. Why? To find mistakes, maybe like while you're writing fast, you have some mistakes on other things. Okay? So that's the first thing we'll talk about is the time management. So we said like you have 30 minutes to write, plan, and to plan, write, and check it. Now, some people will ask me, is it important to plan? Shouldn't I just write what's inside my head? No. No, 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 no. I'll come and tell you, plan, plan, plan. Okay? Plan your argument. Plan your paragraphs. Plan the supporting details. Practice planning essays. You have to practice on writing lots of essays. That's the idea. By the way, this is not about like, I talk English very well, so I can write. No. No, we are actually in need for something specific. You're writing an essay for a TOEFL exam, that means this essay should be academic and professional essay. So how to do that? That's the question. But the first thing, as I said, planning is very important. You should plan your argument and the things like your opinion, your paragraphs, supporting details, and everything. Okay? Now, let's go next. Now, the classic essay. The classic essay is like this. Now, so it has the introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. Now, we've agreed in the classic, we've agreed before that the paragraph starts by a topic sentence, then supporting details, then concluding sentence, right? Now, here it has a thesis. What's the thesis? Thesis, like somehow, what do you want to deliver? The message. Okay, now, focus on the purpose of the things you're writing on. Meaning, like it's like this. In your introduction, you talk about the topic and introduce the topic in a way, in a paragraph. And after that, you have the topic sentence, and you have the body paragraph, introduce it through the topic sentence, supporting details and other things, and the conclusion that somehow you summarize the whole thing. Okay, so let's see that. Introduction. What's the meaning of introduction? That's a good question. Now, introduction coming from reduce. As we said, how to reduce the thing? How to write that thing? How to write this thesis? Because we said the introduction it has thesis. So that's we need to answer this question. How to write a TOEFL essay thesis statement? As we said, the thesis statement should appear in the beginning of the paragraph. It's in the beginning, and it should answer two questions. What is the essay about? Second thing, what's your personal opinion about that problem, and describe it. Now it's like this. What's the essay about? What are you talking about? What's that? Like the essay here is talking about a problem. The essay here is talking about like something funny. The essay here is talking about that and that and that. So these are different types of essays. And the second thing we're talking about here is what's your personal opinion about that? Your personal opinion is very important. Yes? Because you are the writer of the essay, so we need your opinion. Okay, so let's go next and get to see what's that. Let's see that example. Find the thesis in this thing. The question is like this. Some people prefer to eat, to eat at food stands and or restaurants. Other people prefer to prepare and eat food at home. Which do you prefer? Use specific reasons and examples to support your answer. People have two options when deciding where to eat. They can prepare meals and eat at home, or they can go out and stand a restaurant. I prefer to go out to eat because the people is more varied and interesting. It's less work for me and it saves time. Okay? Example 2. Is it better for children to participate in team sports or individual sports? Why? Use specific reasons and examples to support your answers. Now, the introduction will be like this. It's better for children to participate in team sports rather than individual sports. In team sports, children learn how to cooperate. They learn good sportsmanship and how to rely on their team. These are important lessons that will benefit children throughout their lives. Children throughout their lives. Sorry, I'm having cold today, so I have a problem. So again here, so the second example here, I actually told them about my opinion, and I talked about that message or that thesis about that topic. Okay, so here the introduction was like this. I gave the topic, the name of the topic that I'm talking about, then I supported with some ideas and my opinion. Okay, let's go next. The body. Now we said that the idea of the essay starts by introduction, body paragraphs, and at the end. Now, so it's the same as the reading. The reading you have, like we said, in the reading you have body paragraphs, you have introduction in the beginning, and you have at the end conclusion. Now body paragraphs. What are the body paragraphs? So let's get to see that. Body paragraphs, okay. Now, don't forget in the paragraphs that the topic sentence in the beginning. Don't forget in the paragraphs you have to support the ideas, to have coherence, to have unifying the idea, unified ideas and develop ideas. Okay, so remember the lesson on the paragraphs. Make sure, don't forget the topic sentence as I said. Make each idea a paragraph and keep it cohesive. Refer to your useful vocabulary sheet. Use varied formal vocabulary. Try to vary sentence length. Now, don't keep the sentences are the same length, and that's one of the important things. One of the things that lots of people they do, they choose a form of a sentence and they say it and it's the same length always. Now choose vary sentence length because to show how good are you in writing. Okay? Conclusion. Conclusion always summarize what you were talking about. So conclusion always will talk about what you talk about in summarized way. Like, for example, I talked about dogs today. So in the beginning, we talked about the benefits of dogs. Then we talked about in the body paragraph, kinds of dogs, where are the dogs, and so on. There's a conclusion, why dogs are important in our life. That's a conclusion. That's something like I should like think about always. Like my essay always should have a conclusion. It's not open talking on other things, okay? So you restate the thesis in different ways. That means you summarize, you rewrite it, okay? Summarizing the whole point in the essay is important, okay? And I will summarize it here with different words, not the same as the essay. Remember to signal to the conclusion of the paragraphs with an appropriate phrase. Now, know how to start your conclusion. Know how to build up your essay, okay? Put it together. Now, that's an important thing. Knowing the things is different than okay. So, as we were saying, knowing the things is different than putting them together. Now, so I can know, for example, how to write an introduction, how to write a conclusion, or how to write body paragraphs, and so on. I know what the thesis is, and I use the thesis in a correct way. My paragraphs are like, somehow they have coherence, somehow developed, and also, if we're talking about it, unified ideas. And I've learned how to write each paragraph alone, and I actually learned how to write the introduction, conclusion, and the body paragraphs. But the question here is how to put all of these together. That's the good question. That's the question that you should answer. Now, how to put all of these together. Now, let's start and see what. Now, that's the question. In some countries, teenagers have jobs while they are still students. Do you think this is a good idea? Support your opinion by using specific reasons and details. That's a question, and we need you actually to write about this. Now, it's a good idea for teenagers to have jobs while they are students because they can learn about responsibilities, they can learn the value of money, and they can learn how to work as a member of a team. So that's the thesis, that's the introduction that I wrote, okay? Now, my introduction here is talking about what? It's talking about my point of view and the idea that we're talking about here. So the idea that we're talking about here, do I think it's a good idea or not? Working when they were a teenager, teenagers working while they are young and while they are studying. So they are students, they're working. So I think it's a good idea. So I think it's a good idea. Why? Because of 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the introduction that I have. That's my introduction. As a thesis, and it has just opinion. Now the second thing, like I need to talk about students can learn responsibility. So these are the points. They have to come to work on time every day. They must serve customers in a friendly manner. They have to maintain the store shelves with inventory. So that's responsibility. Students can learn the value of money. Students will learn that it takes a lot of time and effort to make money. So we make wiser choices when buying things with their own money. So these, for example, some ideas for like my body paragraph. So let's try to combine them together. Now, we have here also some other things. Students will learn how to work, blah, blah, blah. That's another idea. And the conclusion, the last thing, it's valuable experience for teenagers to have jobs while they are students because they will learn to be responsible adults. They will have an appreciation for money and they will learn about working with others. All of these traits will benefit them throughout their lives. Now, so that's the thing. Let's try to combine all of them together so it will be like this. Now first here, I have to make a paragraph from each one. So it's like this. It's a good idea for teenagers to have jobs while they are students because they can learn about responsibility. They can learn to value money and the value of money, and they can learn how to work as a member of a team. Now, to be responsible, for example, like they have to come to work on time every day. They don't come late because they know that they might get deducted from their might get deducted from their salary. Also, another thing, they might serve customers in a friendly manner and talk to them and smile to them in a good way. They have to maintain the socials with inventory because that's the responsibilities to sell some things, maybe if they work in a shop or something like that. So you need to have it like full with things on the shelf. Like I think students learn the value of money because they will learn that it takes a lot of time and effort to make money. This is the thing that they actually should learn about their parents. Their parents worked hard to have those kind of money. Also, students will make wiser choices when they buy things because it's their own money and they did lots of effort. So it took lots of effort for them to buy these stuff. And also, sorry, to gain this money. Then we have here students who learn how to work as a member of a team. So they will learn teamwork. Students will learn how to compromise with others. So compromise and try to reach like a middle ground between each other, and they help out when someone is sick or something like that. Students will learn about like friendship that comes from teamwork, feeling like you can trust others, feeling like that it's good to trust others and to have someone in your life that you rely on or something like that. So it's related to team building as well. Then we talk about the conclusion. So it's a valuable experience for teenagers to have jobs while they are students because they will learn to be responsible adults. They will have an appreciation for money, and they will learn about working with others. All of these traits will benefit them throughout their lives. So that's an example for an essay. When I talk about each paragraph, I support it with some ideas, I support it with conclusion and other things. And I divide the whole essay into some paragraphs, some body paragraphs, introduction, and conclusion. Okay? Independent writing time. Now, let's go and talk about it. Okay? Let's watch this video first, then we'll talk about it.
Hi, and welcome to another English Simple TOEFL tutorial video. Today I put together this quick video to talk about a specific issue with the TOEFL independent essay. I had a student recently that was struggling with an aspect of the essay, and it inspired me to put together this video. So I hope this is beneficial for you. Obviously, the topic of today's essay is the TOEFL independent essay. Basically, we're going to get into a very specific issue that a student had, specifically with supporting examples, and this student had trouble with coming up with supporting examples or brainstorming supporting examples during the test, which is a pretty common issue. So let's do a quick review of the independent essay, the TOEFL independent essay. If you've seen the other videos, if you're a member of EnglishSimple.org, you're very familiar with the independent essay structure, which is, take a look at our outline for an independent essay. You have an introductory paragraph. This is the paragraph that introduces the main idea, your thesis, and probably introduces your body paragraph supporting ideas. So you have your intro paragraph followed by a body paragraph. Usually there's two. I recommend two, at least two. You can in some cases write three, but at least two main body paragraphs to support your thesis in the introductory paragraph. And then, of course, you have a conclusion to wrap it all up. And the conclusion is always a restating of the introduction or the thesis, restating what your main supporting ideas were. But that's for another video. Today we're going to talk about what happens in the body paragraph. All right, so my student was having trouble with an aspect of the body paragraph. Let's review the structure of the body paragraph in the TOEFL independent essay. There are 3 parts. There's going to be your topic sentence. Now with the essay, you're going to have an opinion about something, and then you're going to support it with 2 main kind of general supporting ideas. Those are going to be the 2 body paragraphs. Now, when you introduce one of those paragraphs, you're introducing it with a topic sentence. As a very general example, let's say you're writing an essay about pizza and why you think it's the best food in the world, and you have a couple of supporting ideas, and one of your supporting ideas is that it's delicious. Your topic sentence is going to be something like, pizza is the most delicious food in the world, followed by some sort of general example. Now, this is not going to be specific, this is general, but it is more specific than a topic sentence. So if we say, pizza is the most delicious food in the world, the general example is going to be something like, most Americans agree that pizza is incredibly delicious and it's their favorite food. It's still general. We're not talking about anybody we know specifically, but it is more specific than the topic sentence of pizza is delicious. Now, finally, we have a third supporting detail. Now, I try to get my students to use personal examples with this, meaning we said pizza was delicious. Then we said, for our general example, that a bunch of Americans love pizza and it's very popular in this country, if you're in America. And then finally, specifically, personally, I think pizza is the most delicious food in the world, and one time I had a piece of pizza that, melted my brain, etc. The idea is it gets specific, it gets personal, and that's the third idea, and that's really what my student had trouble with. And that's what we're going to talk about, how to generate ideas for your specific personal example, okay? Which can be tricky because of the TOEFL time constraints and our nerves, and we're trying to come up with ideas, and there's a lot of stress. Maybe we've taken the test like 50 million times and we hate it. Everybody hates the TOEFL. But we're just trying to get through it, and it's difficult to come up with specific personal examples in the middle of the test. It's the last aspect of the test. It comes at the very end. You're exhausted. So the purpose of this video is to teach you how to practice for this and how to really use a specific exercise in order to, get better at coming up with specific personal examples for your essay. Now, my student had a problem. They didn't know how to do this. It was a big old question mark, and they said, I struggle with this. I can't think of any personal examples when I go to do this. All right? To support my topic sentence. Now, 2 tips for coming up with personal examples. First of all, if possible, you want your personal examples to be professional or academic. What does this mean? This means that if you come up with a personal example, it should be somewhat professional, meaning you talk about a time you had a job that was related to that example, or it could be academic. You reference a class you took, or you reference a teacher that you had once, something to do with the university. Look, the TOEFL is all about applying English in a university setting. So if you can relate that back to them, if you can speak their language, it's only going to register better with them. They're going to click better. They're going to give you a better score. That's just the reality of it. So maybe you talk about something in the workplace, or you talk about a class. The second idea for a personal example is it can be true, or you can completely make it up. Now, there are some TOEFL teachers who will tell you, don't make it up. It's easier to think of a real personal example than it is to make something up on the spot. Now, I've had hundreds of students, and every single one of them has been different, and they all had strengths and weaknesses, and some of them were very good at making up stories, and others were not. So, the point of this is, if you cannot think of a story, if you cannot tell a good story or make it up, then definitely it should be true. Okay? However, if you are good at telling stories, if you are good at making things up on the fly, which means spontaneously, then absolutely, make it up. Doesn't have to be true. All right? So let's get on to the actual exercise. How are we going to practice coming up with these personal examples? A little behind here. How? There we go. Now we're going to brainstorm. Now this does not mean that you sit there with your pen and your piece of paper and you do mind mapping or, this idea leads to this idea, leads to this idea. No, 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 no. What I'm talking about is a very specific exercise where you take a list of writing topics and you brainstorm in the sense where you're just only thinking of ideas quickly. That's the idea of a brainstorm. It's to think of ideas quickly without worrying if they're right or wrong. So how do we do this? Well, practice thinking of examples. You need a list of independent essay topics. And, good for you, below this video on YouTube, in the Show More section, you click on it for more information. I'm going to post a huge list of independent writing topics. You can use those to practice writing your essays. You can also use those to do this exercise. And I'm about to explain this exercise, but it's going to be a huge list of independent essay topics in the text underneath this video. Okay, so you're going to have to click on it after you finish watching the video. Don't go there now. We're going to practice using keywords, generating keywords. So we're going to take our list of independent essay topics, and we're just going to practice coming up with keywords over and over and over again for those different independent essay topics. All right, with supporting examples and supporting details. It's a two-step process. I'm going to explain a little better. The key is we are not writing an essay. The key to this is, repeat, this exercise, we're not writing an essay. What we're doing is we're practicing writing keywords. So you don't need to write too much. Keep it to 1 to 2, maybe 3 words at the most for each one of your examples. Okay? So what we're going to do here is I've pulled an example from the EnglishSimple.org TOEFL preparation course, which you can go to by following the links or going to EnglishSimple.org. Now, this is a question from the practice test in the writing section of the course. And the question is, people attend college or university for many different reasons. For example, new experiences, career preparation, increased knowledge. Why do you think people attend college or university? Use specific reason and examples to support your answer. It's a very common type of question. Now, I'm not going to sit and write the essay. What I'm doing is I'm taking this writing prompt, this writing assignment, just like you get on the TOEFL test. It's exactly like the TOEFL test. And I'm practicing brainstorming, supporting ideas, and personal examples. And I'm not writing them all out. I'm thinking of key words that represent those things. So, for this one, why do people go to college? Well, I came up with these are 2 general ideas. Number 1, the social experience, the social benefit you get from it, because you meet a lot of people, it's fun. And the second thing is the benefit for your career. Each one of these would be my body paragraphs. So this would be body paragraph 1, and this would be body paragraph 2. These are the main general ideas, okay? Social experience and a career. Now, we also have to think of personal examples, right? Personal details. So we come up with very short little words, and then we brainstorm really quickly, and we think of, okay, social example. What are some examples of some socialization we do in college? Well, we make friends, and maybe I met my wife at college, right? And then we get married later on in life. It's a social experience. College, university is a very social environment. So the second one, career. What are some career benefits that we get from university? Personal examples. I made connections that got me a job. I learned how to teach. Maybe I learned how to teach TOEFL in university. In a way I did. All right? So this is the idea. We're brainstorming. We're not writing the whole essay. We're practicing going, okay, what are my main ideas? What are my personal examples? That's all we're doing. We get this thing here, and we practice this stuff here. Very straightforward.